Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today we're checking out a 2024 Kia EV6 in the GT trim level. This vehicle is sitting on 255/40 Goodyear Eagle tires wrapped around 21-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has a high-performance, oversized braking system with ventilated rotors on all four wheels. The name of this color is Steel Matte Gray. So it has like this Tron look, you know, with that matte gray or matte silver color to it. Looks really good. And this front end has some gloss black, and the grille shutters are like a matte black, so it has a little bit of a contrast there. When they open up, you can see through there, but right now they're closed. There's parking sensors across the front. It also has a 360, really good camera system. One of the cameras is right here, 360 camera system, and an impressive LED setup. LED turn signals, headlights, everything. Very cool design at nighttime. You should check out my night video on this vehicle. I really like the profile. It's very unique, you know, kind of this short front end up here, and then has the large wheels. But yeah, really impressive looking and unique vehicle. Now it has the gloss black, of course, more here on the sides and there on the pillars, and around the actual front pillar and the mid pillar there as well are all blacked out. So if you tint all the glass, it'll look really cool, kind of solidifying everything there. This is what the key looks like, and it's a full proximity key. Most of the buttons are here on the edge. It has these buttons here. So it has the lock, unlock, the ability to open up the power liftgate, panic button here, and then here's the remote start, and then you can actually move the vehicle forward and back without getting in the vehicle. So like if you just need to back it out of a parking spot or something like that, you can do that with the key. So yeah, but the way the key works, as long as you have the key with you, I have it set up to where when I walk up to the vehicle, it senses the key and just pops the door open, the handles, and unlocks it for me. But it does have a sensor right here if you need to press that to lock the doors. But yeah, they go flush, those handles. And their body colors, they kind of blend in pretty good. But let's say if we want to remote start this vehicle, and go ahead and start it up. So of course no engine because it's an EV. So let's go ahead and move it backwards. So if we use the button on the key here, you kind of have to be a little close to the vehicle, and you have to hold the button down. So let's go ahead and press and hold this button. First thing it's going to do is straighten the wheel, and then it's going to start backing up. So I'm holding the button, and the parking sensors are active. So if something gets in the way, like me, I'll just go ahead and stand in the way. It'll sense me, and then it'll stop right there. So I'm still holding the button, but it stopped because it sensed something on the parking sensors. Now I was fairly close, but it still stops. Now, let's go ahead and press the forward button. So now it'll go forward. And the good thing about it is it goes very slow. And then as soon as you let go, it stops. You know, so there's certainty on, you have very precise control over where it goes. You know, it's not going to go turning the wheel or anything. It straightens the wheel up first, and then you can go forward and back straight. And then as soon as you let go, you have to hold it down. As soon as you let go, it stops. So you're in control the whole time. You also have to be very close. You can't be like across the parking lot doing this. So you have to know what's going on, you know, around the vehicle when you do it. So that close proximity of the key is sensed for that reason. Doors go all the way to the bottom of the vehicle, and there's actually a seal there to kind of keep that threshold relatively clean. Here's the inside of the door. Now it has a like a soft material, not super soft, but you know, somewhat soft here, and then this is a suede, so that's nice and soft around your arm. All this is a suede right in here. Then you have the gloss black materials there. This is enclosed, so you can utilize that as a pocket. It has a little rubber floor as well. I like the little design of the handle there, kind of blending in with this accent. The bottom of the door is a hard touch surface, and then this pocket here is a felt lined, kind of like a felt like you would feel on a tennis ball, that kind of thing. So yeah, pretty cool. It has the Meridian sound system. Meridian, you know, surround system, and it sounds really good. It's not like the best Meridian surround system I've heard, but it's up there pretty good. So there's the threshold, no fancy seal plate or anything. It looks pretty good. manually adjusted seats. It does have a height adjustment as well. And these are heated seats, and they have like a vinyl type material here, microfiber cloth here where it meets up with the hard plastic. And then you have like this neon green stitching and piping here, looking really nice. And then you have the suede material there in the center, more stitching. And these are the type of seats that kind of hug your body and keep you in position if you're, you know, driving sporty or whatever. So they do have a little bit of a contour, you know, like, so when the bolsters, they're pretty strong. So when you get in, make sure they're going to work for you as far as the comfort and everything. They're fine for me. I prefer a little bit more relaxed seat, but they're still fine. Lots of legroom here in the front, almost completely flat all around. And you have that storage compartment there that you can share with the driver. And then there's 12-volt power supply, USBs everywhere down there. Now this is a hard touch surface, and then it has a non-locking glove compartment. And it's pretty good, really good size. Look, it goes way back in there. You put like a whole stack of books in there. And then you have this quick access part here as well. There's some ambient lights. I don't know if you can tell, but right there, there's a little bit of ambient lights. You got to check out my night video. I actually have a night video on the GT line, which has the same ambient lights. You can check that out. And then I might do another night video on this one because I love this car so much. But check out this little pattern here on the dash. And it has a hard touch here, and this is like a semi-hard, I guess you could say. And it has a sunroof. So you can see the opening here in the front, wide open space here. And so yeah, getting in and out of the vehicle, other than the bolsters on the seats, a breeze. It's so much room to get in and out. Basically the same thing in the back. You have lots of room here. The swing of the door is nice on both the front and the back. And so yeah, just no problem getting in the front or the back. So back here we have the hard touch instead of that semi-soft material, but we do have the suede here, pocket there with the felt line, more speakers. But so similar styling, we just have more hard touch surfaces. Once again, no fancy seal plate or anything. So the back seat is basically a bench seat. It does have the latch system for car seats, kind of wedged in this little seam here. Has the same, no piping, but it does have the stitching here in the back and the suede seats. Center armrest is fairly soft, more soft on the bottom or on the sides than the top. And then you have the cup holders there. Lift this up out of the way. So the car seat attachments are only on the outside and not the inside. And these seats do not have the pockets on the back, but they are soft back here. And you have USB-C ports there. Completely flat floor. So yeah, lots of leg room, plenty of room for center passenger or whatever, just getting comfortable. No problem in this vehicle. Here in the very center of the seats, there is a power inverter, and it's a 120 volts, 16 amps. So a very substantial power inverter. So you can plug in pretty much anything you would normally plug into your house outlet. Now it does have a little lock here, so you can put the key in there, the physical key, lock it, and keep kids from, like, you know, putting their fingers in it or whatever, sticking some kind of metal object in it. But yeah, it's kind of hidden under here, so it's kind of right under there, but it does have it, and that could come in handy in certain scenarios. Taking a look at the back of the vehicle, it has a shark fin antenna, body colored here. There's also the spoiler right here where the air is able to flow through it here at the top of the glass. There's also a third brake light up there as well. And then the actual taillights that go all the way across the entire vehicle, looking really sharp. LEDs back here, very impressive and unique looking. Also parking sensors back here. Now the backup camera is in a center position, but it's kind of in this low position where the tag is. So, but I'm glad they at least put it in the center position. Looking nice. Now the reverse light's actually down here, and I show all this stuff in the night video if you want to check it out. I have the GT line and the Wind that I did night videos on, so you can check those out. And these are reflectors down here. They're not lights. Now you can of course use the key to open up the power liftgate, or you can just press the button under here and it goes up. You can see it has this hard touch surface under here, and it has a physical release here. So here's the cargo area, and it has this removable shade, and it kind of takes up some of the height, but you can retract it back. There's also a secondary place to put it. So you can see the seats can recline. So if you want to recline the seats, you have to put it in this rear position. And then if you don't recline them, then you can put it in the more forward position. Or you can take this shade completely out if you want. But yeah, lots of room back here. It's amazing. This vehicle is like a high performance vehicle, but it's very practical. You have lots of leg room, passenger space, and cargo space. It's great. You also have the ability to fold the seats down using these levers here, right here. Just pull that and it kind of flops each seat down on each side. And there's a 12-volt power supply here. You can put it in a net pocket. There's those little tie downs here as well. There's the interior light on one side, unfortunately. And there's the other latch to lower the other seat, and there's tie downs. Right here is the manual release for the charge port door. So in case you can't get it open for whatever reason, you can physically open it that way. Now under the floor here has a tire mobility kit, which it doesn't have the spare tire because of the performance vehicle. You would need a huge spare tire to get over those performance brakes. It also has this vehicle to load adapter. So basically you just plug this in to the vehicle where you would normally charge it, and it gives you a fairly decent amount of power. So it's actually 15 amps, 125 volts. So 15 amps is basically what you would find in your house. So like a full outlet that you can plug in like a space heater or anything, like anything that you would normally plug into your house outlet, this can handle. The Meridian subwoofer is located under here in the subfloor area. And there's these little panels you can take out. So if you want to have some of the sound exit this area a little bit better, you can do that if you want. There's also a space for the shade to stow under the floor as well. So you can take it out and put it right in there, out of the way. And there's plenty more room under this load floor. You just kind of have to access it under here by pulling this forward, and then you can tilt this up and you can access this area here. You can completely take this floor out if you want to. If you just need that additional height, you can just leave this out and use that area. Now these seats fold down in a 60-40 split manner, so that way you can add to your cargo space while still maintaining some passenger space if you needed. But you can take the shade out, fold both seats down, and you have a very substantial cargo area back here. Height and width, everything. Lowering the power lift gate, you just press this button and it comes right on down, or you can of course use the key. The charge port is here on the back passenger side. You just press right here and it opens up and has the normal DC and AC chargers. A little light right in here, and then the status of the charge. So you can just quickly look at that bar and give you an idea of how much, general idea, basic idea. If it's above 50%, then it'll show here. If it's above 75, it'll show here, basically like that. The floorboard in front of the driver's seat, and once again, lots of room, and has a sporty pedals, aluminum pedals with the raised rubber there, large footrest. Let's take a look under the hood. To raise the hood, you do have to reach in to the right side, just under this letter A. It kind of looks like a backwards N. Kind of reminds me of the Killer Instinct logo. Let's lift that up, like so. You can see there's the latch there. And basically, there's not much under here other than this little compartment that you would need to be concerned with anyway. So here's a compartment. You can access the 12-volt battery here. You can also, there's these little rubber mats you can take out, clean, put back in. But you can also pull this, go ahead and pull this out of the way. So you can access some of this stuff. You don't really have to do that, but there is quick access for people that need it anyway. Technicians or whatever are able to do that. So basically the two things you would normally access is just a little cargo space here and the washer fluid. Other than that, you just basically leave everything else alone as an owner, really. Now it does have some fuses, it has a 12-volt battery, it has other things as well, but yeah, that's the main thing. Now I don't know if you can tell, but right in here, the suspension towers here are braced in. It's kind of under this cover, but they're completely braced into each other, solidifying the front end. So yeah, it feels very solid, especially with that low center of gravity that the EVs have with a battery on the bottom. Feels really good. And now this is an all-wheel drive performance trim, and it's the top trim. The GT is the top trim. Now with a 576 horsepower, 545 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, that's significantly greater, faster, and better. It also has so like the standard all-wheel drive has a 5.1 second 0 to 60, which is still really good, but this one's 3.4 seconds. Very seat-pinning type vehicle. Now it reaches a top speed of 161 miles per hour instead of the 117 mile per hour in the other trims. It also has an upgraded suspension, tighter steering, high-performance braking system, big wheels. The driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. Now it does have the blind spot detection system and the rear cross traffic alert. Very, very handy. So the indicator is here on the side mirror. And then you have the power windows. The front two are one touch up and down. And you have your door lock controls, side mirror controls, and then you can also power forward them as well. And basically the same controls here on the seat for the driver as the passenger, as the height adjustment and basically a manually adjusted seat. To the left of the steering column, there's the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. Open up the power lift gate. You can open up it looks like a little fuel door, but it's actually the charge port. And then the electronic parking brakes here, and then the traction control off button is there. Default is on, but if you need to spin tires for whatever reason, and this vehicle will spin tires, you can turn it off here. Now, when you put it in GT mode, then it'll downgrade some of the traction control a little bit, but not completely off. This will actually turn it completely off. It also has a tilt and telescoping steering column as well that you lock in place here. I like the way when the vehicle's off, all the screens are black like this. Just kind of blends in and has a nice style. Just kind of emphasize the actual shape and style of the vehicle. And then when you turn it on, here's the start button. Everything kind of comes to life. And you notice this little panel right here turns on, this panel, that panel. The heads-up display is fairly well done. Now it has different modes, and one of those modes is augmented reality. You can control the screen up and down. So we can go up and down with it like this. And you notice the speedometer is there at the bottom. So just keep that in mind. It has this little framing right there so you can get an idea of what's going to happen or what information could be there, because the augmented reality part has these little arrows and stuff to kind of show up, and it's above the speedometer. So you want to get basically the speedometer at the low point of your eye level when you're adjusting it. And of course you can adjust the brightness and you can also adjust the tilt as well. This is standard mode, so it doesn't have the augmented reality little arrows and stuff. It does give you arrows, directional arrows, but they're not as cool looking as the augmented reality ones. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have the driver's seat all the way down and all the way back to give you an idea of the potential legroom here. And basically, it's way too far back. I feel like a toddler. I can't touch the pedals safely enough, and so yeah, if you're way over 6 feet tall, you should have no problem driving this vehicle. There's plenty of legroom width-wise and length-wise. So yeah, just really well done as far as space. So I got to pull the seat up here a little bit so I can reach everything. Okay, so the steering wheel has a semi-flat bottom, and you notice it's open down here. I like that. You can kind of hold it in different places. It has these grips up here. It has the stitching here at the top with that green, that neon green color. But you notice it's not here on the bottom. But it does have this metallic accent that blends in here as well. So yeah, really cool looking steering wheel. Has the Kia emblem, looking nice. Now it has Regen paddles instead of like pedals that you would use to shift gears, paddle shifters. They're Regen pedals, and I'll actually show you that when we're driving. I like to keep it in auto mode, but you can have different levels, up to a really high to really low and completely off, and you can simply just use those paddles to adjust those Regen. Now, here on the buttons, here on the left side is the cruise control, and I like the way you just press this one button. Cruise control is on and set at the same time. Just one button. You're driving, you just push that one button, done. And then you can change through the speeds here. You can also pause and resume by pressing in on this little toggle switch. You can set the distance between you and the vehicle by right here. You just cycle through and rest on the one you want. And then you have the lane keep assist system, which you can turn on or off right here as well. Now you notice this little pages and this OK and this little other toggle, that corresponds with the screen. We'll get to that in a second. Here on the right side is the volume for the radio, change to the tracks or whatever you happen to be playing. And then mode is the audio source. You also have voice recognition. And then this is for your phone. Now it's the same button to answer or hang up. So you just press the button answer, press it again to hang up. I prefer separate buttons, but that's the way it is. And then this is a customizable button, so you can do whatever you want with it. Now you can press in here to mute the audio. So you can just press in right there to mute it real fast, and then press it again. It brings it right back to the volume level that you had. Now you notice it has the drive mode button, and then it has an additional GT button. So you have these different drive modes. You have Sport, Eco, Normal, and it shows different views for the screen as well. Now Sport gives you a higher responsiveness and more acceleration and all that stuff, but GT, that gives you just a whole nother level. You know, this brings it up to like Sport mode part 2 or whatever. It gives you the maximum this vehicle is able to handle. And so yeah, very impressive. 0 to 60, 3.4 seconds, and you feel it. Now, even in normal mode, you feel the acceleration. It's a very powerful, very razor sharp responsiveness. The accelerator pedal is very satisfying. You know, there's no lag whatsoever. You're just going. You know, and then of course, if you set the Regen to what you want, and then so as you let off the accelerator, I can give you that braking, which is also charging the battery, by the way, with the Regen system. You know, so it depends. Like if you're having a lot of heavy cornering and stuff like that, you can just fine tune it where you barely have to use the actual brakes. You just use the Regen system, and you're not even using the brakes unless you absolutely have to. But you can really have full control over the speed of the vehicle in a way that is hard to explain unless you really, you know, do it yourself. You know. EVs are just incredible at times when the performance EVs especially, really, they have the capability of being very well done. In this case, very well done. Now you have the windshield wiper controls there. It does have an automatic rain sensing system as well. And then you have the headlight switch here. Now it's not illuminated, but as you turn the switch, it'll pop up here on the screen and showing you what's going on. Does have off, automatic, parking, lights, and then headlights here. And if you accidentally leave the headlights on and then stop the vehicle, it'll just turn the headlights off. So it's not a huge deal, other than draining the battery unnecessarily during the day. So yeah, here's the screen here. And it has a digital speedometer, a little bit of a glare here on the screen. I can't see it with my eyes, but the camera's picking it up. And then it has the actual charge percentage, the status of the Regen system, outside temperature, and then it shows when you put it in park, it automatically engages the parking brake. So some EVs, for some reason, they have to replicate a transmission going in park, and then the parking sensor, the electronic parking brake is separate. And I'm like, why is that? It should automatically engage the parking brake when you put it in park on an EV, like every vehicle. But anyways, this one does that, so that's good. And then it gives you an estimated range. Now, this estimated range depends on how you drive the vehicle, the outside temperature, whether you have the climate control on or not. So there's different factors, and it'll kind of give you a way of getting a little bit more accurate assessment when we get to the main screen over here. But as it is, it gives you an estimate, you know. So before you have to charge, which is plenty of miles for most vehicles. You know, for most people, 200 miles, a little bit over 200 miles, most people should be fine, unless you're going on a trip, and then you got to go to a fast charger. Okay, so these buttons right here, pages, and then this button here. I'm gonna hit the pages button. You can see what it does. It cycles through these little icons here at the top. And the first one is the driving support. Basically give you a general idea of what's going on with the lane keeping assist system, the adaptive cruise control. This also has the highway driving assist 2 system, so it'll give you more information. It'll actually show you passing cars and all kinds of cool stuff in here when you're on certain highways. It's not on all roads. So once you set the cruise control, it'll give you some little bit of more information here, which is kind of cool. And then you can see the trip. And then you have the digital compass, and then information here on the all-wheel drive system. So it'll actually show you what wheels are getting the power, front, rear, you know, and where the power is coming from, and where it's going. Basically, they're coming from the battery, going to the rear wheels, going to the front wheels, basically. So yeah, you can kind of cycle through here. So you can cycle up and down on some of these. Now you notice on, like in this one, it's showing the tire pressure. Part of the reason some vehicles you have to drive because it measures the wheel turning, and if one wheel is turning at a different rate as the other ones, then it can tell if that tire is low or not. So it's not actually a tire pressure sensor, it's actually, you know, measuring the wheel rolling, you know. So that's part of the reason why some vehicles, it's like you have to drive in order to get some kind of information there. Now, you know, if you got a flat tire, you won't know it until you start driving in this particular case. So this has a home screen, which it looks like that, or this is basically the whole home screen. It has these 3 screens. So if you're here and you hit the home screen, it's going to go there, but sometimes it goes back here, depending on the situation. So I like the way it has the calendar, the clock, which is large, easy to read, status of the battery, and then your range. So you notice I tapped it and then it went to the EV part. There's also a little bit of a map here on the right side, so it's pretty cool. Now if you go to the EV setting here, it has the distance to the nearest charger, which is using the navigation for that, and it also shows how far you can go with the climate control on versus off. So it's slightly different in this particular case because the temperature is fairly mild. You can go into the settings here, the EV settings. You can set the maximum charge percentage versus DC or AC charger. And the reason why you would want to do that is, so if you charge at home every day and you don't need the extra miles, it's best to charge it, you know, 80 or 90%, not to 100 every single day. You know, it's best to, unless you need the miles, go ahead and charge to 100. But DC fast chargers, when you go there and you plug in, if you get over 100%, if you get over 80% and you're going from 80 to 100, it's super slow. And then everybody's waiting. You know, if it's real busy and other people are waiting, then it just drags out forever. So charging to 80% on a DC charger is definitely recommended. It really doesn't matter as far as your battery health. It's more about just how long it takes to get to the higher percentage. Now, daily charging is where the battery health comes in, where you're charging, you know, and you're not maxing it out every single day unnecessarily. So if you need the extra miles, no problem. Go ahead and go to 100% and then start driving. I mean, you know, right after, basically. You don't want to sit there. You don't want to charge it to 100% and just leave it there for a week, you know, or several days. You know, you just want to use it right after you charge to 100%. So yeah, you can adjust the amps. So like at home, if you plug in, if you don't want it to go to 100 amps, so 100% of the amps available. So this, in this case, is 48 amps maximum. So if, let's say your charger, like my charger maxes out at 40 amps, so it just goes to 40 amps and charges that way if I have it on 100. But I try to lower it down because it still charges overnight. It's not a big deal, and also I don't, you know, drain the battery all the way down. So I lower it down. It's using less amps and all that stuff. So you can also have battery conditioning mode. If it's very cold and you're heading to a DC fast charger, you can condition the battery before you get there, and it'll go ahead and charge faster, so it's not too cold. When it's too cold, it charges slow, and then it takes time to heat up. So if you go ahead and condition it before you get there, it heats it up, and that way when you plug in, it's fast right away. All right, so utility mode. This is pretty cool. So if you want to leave the vehicle on and you're inside the vehicle and using the climate control, it basically cuts everything off and uses the high voltage battery to run the vehicle, the climate control, and you can sit in here for days basically using that. I mean, it'll keep you warm forever, or cool, or whatever you need it to use it for. So yeah, utility mode is pretty cool. And then you have the smart Regen system. You can adjust that. Charging connector, you can do the settings here. Charging voice prompts, it actually says charging started. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. So yeah, that you can have that. So yeah, that's how you kind of set up your vehicle. That's where the setting is for the EV settings. And those are important things. Once you get the vehicle, you can go in there. It's very important to understand those features and know how to set up the vehicle. Some vehicles, EVs, don't have a lot of those settings. Like you just plug it in, it charges it, whatever, you know. It doesn't have any kind of, you know, you can't fine tune it. You can't assert your preferences in this particular case. So yeah, I'm glad this one has those features. I was really spoiled, you know, with Kias and Hyundais. They have these advanced features, and other vehicles, like I'm looking in the systems trying to find them, they don't have them. It's like, man, this is not good. I prefer to, you know, change them if I need to. So there's a navigation map, and you notice it has a separate button for the map versus the menu. So there's the map right here, and I got it on dark mode because it kind of matches the style of the vehicle, but you can put it on day mode if you want. There's a navigation menu where you search and save and all that stuff. Then you can pair phones. You have phone projection, which is Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You also have a voice memo. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Subscribe to Mike's Car Info on YouTube. There we go. So I have a voice memo on there. So this is handy because, like, say if you have an idea and you just like, oh, I got this great idea, and you're driving, then you can just record it, you know, instead of trying to write it down or whatever. Oh, I'll write it when I stop, and then you forget. You completely forget about everything. So you can do go into the climate control here. It's a little bit redundant because you do have the climate control buttons down here, make it easier. But you can go in here, and it links with the settings here, and then you can adjust where you want the air to blow and all that stuff. You have a quiet mode where you have, let's say you have kids in the back and they're sleeping, and then you have the radio playing in the front instead of the back. And then you can have the HD radio, regular radio. There's the normal setup where you have the different options here. Media, which is, you know, Bluetooth and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, it does have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. And then Kia Connect is an app on your phone. And then you have a user manual. Unfortunately, it's just a QR code. It's not actually a manual on this screen. Now right here is the different users. You can set those up here. You also have this little pop-down menu here where you can turn the display off if you want to clean it. You can edit the home icons if you would like. And then there's a shortcut to the QR code there. So yeah, fairly simple system once you kind of understand how to navigate through. And most everything, you don't have to go in there and mess with it all the time. You set it up one time and you're done. While you're driving, most of the things here on the steering wheel is what you, like the volume or something like that. You can do the fan speed or whatever. So it's pretty basic. Now down here, it's pretty interesting. This screen, this little sub screen, is separate from the main screen, so you can, for quick access. But what happens is, right now it's set to climate control. You can press this button and quickly go to the radio. So you have the volume for the radio, change to the tracks. Then you have the different buttons here for your seeking and change media. You can just quickly go to the map, navigation, radio, media, setup. All that stuff is kind of redundant buttons down here. Recirculate the air, front and rear defrosters. Auto climate has 3 different settings. So you can quickly go to that if you need to. So you press that button and it switches back and forth from the radio or the climate control. So let's go ahead and bring this down. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And also, if you press and hold this, it's like a little setting that pops up here. And once you're finished pressing the buttons, it can return back to, let's say you want the infotainment or the climate prioritized, you can have that. Or you can just have it off, it'll stay wherever you left it. which I kind of prefer that. Here's the heated seats, 3-stage heated seat for the driver and passenger. Heated steering wheel, just on or off. There's a start button, which we already saw. And then it has the shifter right here. So let's go ahead and turn the dial. Put it in reverse, neutral, and drive. And then there's park. So very straightforward. So let's go ahead and put it back in reverse. Two things will happen. The parking sensors will pop up here, and the camera system, which is fantastic, pops up here. So you have the top-down view, and then you have the rear view now because we have in reverse. But you can have different views, front, in the back too, front and back. But yeah, let's look at the back. This is this view, more of a wide view. And then this view is the side views, side of the vehicle. So you have this top-down view, this wide view, and then the sides of the vehicle. And that's looking backwards. So those are the rear wheels back there. You can also look at this view right here and see your vehicle digitally represented, and then your surroundings, actual real surroundings. It's pretty cool. And then you have the settings here. So let's go ahead and put it in park. And then if we press this button here, it pops up the camera system without being in gear. So now we can choose the back or the front. So if we put it in drive, we have the front view. And the same thing, we have the top-down view, we have the wide view there in the front, and then we have the front wheels. So now as I turn the steering wheel, you can see that the wheels popping out there, so we get a very precise view of where the tires are compared to other things. And then of course we can go back to this view if we want. So yeah, the having that front view is really handy at times. And put it back in park. And we can always, as we're driving into our parking spot or something, we can always press that button. Very easy to get to, and you know, you can nail the parking spot, because as you can see, I've nailed the parking spot here, right there. I'm actually not nailing this parking spot. I actually suck at parking. I actually have to park towards the sun, and that's why I'm parked like this. There's nobody out here, so it's not a big deal. But anyways, you notice these lines are straight, and everything's stitched together nicely with that top-down view with all the 4 cameras. So yeah, it's really good. Speaking of cameras, when I put the turn signal on, it shows a blind spot camera. So I actually see what's in my blind spot in the direction that I'm turning. This is also handy for when you are just like to see vehicles next to you, but also it kind of gives you that view right where the curb is. So as you're making like a tight turn or whatever, you can kind of have certainty by glancing here where you are in relationship to the turn. So yeah, it utilizes the cameras in this vehicle. Excellent. You know, having the blind spot cameras, all these cameras over here, different views, they come in handy. It's just excellent. So there's the auto hold feature here. It just holds the brake for you until you hit the accelerator. Parking sensors, you can quickly turn them off if you need to. That's the on light. Then you have the cup holders here, little storage cubby right in here. Wireless charger, it's easy to get to, and it works even with my cell phone case, so this is great. This armrest is kind of rubbery soft, not super soft, and it lifts up without any kind of latch, but it stops wherever you put it, basically. So it doesn't slap back down on you. Can lift it up so there. There's my business cards in the way. And it has a felt lined compartment, and it's black felt, so I wish it was a brighter color so it kind of help see in there a little bit better. But yeah, it goes in there quite a ways. And I like the way it just doesn't slap back down. You just kind of basically, wherever you put it, that's where it stops. And it has these little bumpers here, keep it from rattling or anything. The rearview mirror has the HomeLink garage door opener control on the underside, and it is an auto dim rearview mirror as well. It has these little tap lights here. I'll show these in the night video. They kind of shine in the lap area. And then you can turn on all the interior lights with that button. And there's the button for the shade and the sunroof. We'll get to that in a second. Now, if you don't want the interior lights to turn on with the door, you can turn that feature off. So that's off, that's on. And then you have the roadside assistance and the Kia Connect system here as well. Now there is the visors have like a vinyl material instead of the same color as the headliner, which is a cloth, but it has this vinyl material which is easy to clean and just very durable. So if you're touching it all the time, it's a good idea to have that vinyl. And then it has a little clip here, mirror, pretty large mirror. Now it has a light here, which you have to turn on manually. But if you leave it on and then flip this up, it automatically hits the button and turns it off. This also slides out, and it gives you good coverage here on the side. Some vehicles, it's like it slides out, but it stops like right there, so you know right where the sun's gonna be. So the sunroof has a shade that covers 100% of the light, and it's a power shade. Like so. You just gently pull back on the button and it'll pull back just the shade. We can push up on the button like that to vent the sunroof, push it forward to close it, and then pull it back again, like more harder, like firmly, and it'll go ahead and pull that back, pull it back again. Okay, that's as far as it goes. Visibility here in the back, you can see it has a wide pillar back there, so it's something you have to get used to as far as actual visibility. But with the camera system, the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert, you know, parking sensors, all that kind of helps out with driving the vehicle safely. I haven't had any problems really, even with that really wide pillar. It kind of looks bad looking at it, but in practice, this vehicle is actually easy to drive. No real problems with visibility when you have all the aids, you know, the actual technology helping you out. I love how practical this vehicle is. Like it's very performance oriented, but just normal driving, like normal daily driving, it's very usable, you know. Like you can have plenty of cargo and passenger space. You can drive it easy. You don't have to worry too much about, you know, the acceleration. You have full control over the acceleration. You can drive it easy, and it just doesn't feel like it's overly powered. It's just when you hit the accelerator is when you feel the power, you know. But yeah, you can drive it easy, and it's very smooth and responsive. Cruise control works just as good as any other of the Kias and Hyundais. It works well. Pretty much all Kia Hyundai features, if it has the feature, it typically works well, and that's what I really appreciate about these brands. Kind of has a little bit of a softer pedal, less precise, and you know, I mean, it's okay. It diminishes your responsiveness, your acceleration potential, and also your climate control. I don't really care for eco mode. It doesn't make a huge difference as far as your range. If I need it, like I would use it, but you know, I don't really need it, so I don't use it. Normal mode is perfect, but I like the way the drive mode button is right there on the steering wheel, so you can quickly, if you need that extra power, you can quickly switch it into sport mode, or you can push the GT if you really need it, but you don't really need the GT. That's more like you want it, you know. Sport mode is plenty for just about pretty much any scenario that I can imagine anyway. It really has so much power, and it just has way more than anybody could possibly need, you know. So I'll just go ahead and put it in sport mode. Now sport mode just automatically adds to the regen as well. So you can feel like when you release the accelerator, it's bringing it down. But you can just anytime, at any speed, you can just really go right up there and accelerate. It's crazy how much acceleration you have at pretty much any speed, you know. It's very impressive. You'll notice that when there's other vehicles around you, there'll be shadows, both on the heads-up display and down here. Just letting you know that it senses the vehicles around you, especially directly in front of you, because that's where the radar adaptive cruise control is looking at. Also, you have the camera system, which is focusing on the lines on the road, so it has full, basically, visibility around the vehicle and in front of the vehicle. And it uses the different sensors for the highway driving assist system as well. You can see the blind spot detection system is both on this screen and on the heads-up display as well. So let's just accelerate we'll go sport mode. All right. Pretty impressive. Let's go ahead and do GT. We have the green there on the sides, has a different screen right here, looking pretty good. Now the GT mode, well, it is all-wheel drive, but the traction control is somewhat off there. So it was braking traction there on the front wheels, so I had to let off of it. But yeah, it's very, very strong. A rolling, so we'll go at about 8 or 10 miles an hour and then just floor it there with GT mode. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, it broke traction a little bit, but I was able to hold it and keep it straight. So let's do a rolling start with the sport mode here. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, sport mode is impressive. The GT just kind of bumps it up a little bit and turns off the traction control. So yeah, that is really impressive acceleration in this vehicle. It's really hard to fathom. I think for most people that haven't experienced an electric vehicle at all, and then you sit in this vehicle, it would just blow you out. It would just blow you away. You know, it'd be very, very impressive. But if you have experienced electric vehicles, then this would still be impressive because of the just sheer, you know, acceleration and responsiveness. But yeah, that GT, it does give you a very responsive pedal. So like a really just hit the accelerator, you know, it's like bam, you know. I don't know if you can tell, like the G-forces are so significant here. So yeah, crazy. Just kind of rolling along, and then bam. Just awesome. Even in short distances, like from here to that stop sign, I mean, it's like you can accelerate really fast.